Hi gang, and welcome to another episode of Mr. Ed Makes. And in this episode I've made another video game. And if you've followed me or if you've just checked out my video list, you'll know that it's kind of a hot mess. I'm all over the place. I just like to create all kinds of different things. And when I was a young teenager, I started programming in AppleSoft Basic, and there's a programmer named Joshua Bell who was able to replicate the Apple computer, the old Apple IIes from the 1980s, in JavaScript so that you could write programs online and run those. So that's what I do from time to time, just to exercise my brain and give myself a hard problem to tackle. And I've been thinking about making this program for a long time, and it's kind of based on Tetris, kind of based on Pipe Dream, if you guys remember from Nintendo, the SE, Super Nintendo. One of those had that game, Pipe Dream. It could have been Sega. If you know, leave a comment. But Pipe Dream was a cool game where you connect the pipes, and the sewer or whatever water it is, I don't know what it was, green ooze, goes through the pipes, and you try to get as many connections as you possibly can. And I loved that version, and I like Tetris too, and I thought of combining the two into one game, but I have to do it in AppleSoft Basic. Now this game is so easy to make in some of the higher languages, but when you're doing it in AppleSoft, you don't have the library of tools to call upon, so you have to make those tools yourself. Fortunately, in this game, this is all text-based. It's no graphics involved. The pipes that you see, those are actually text characters that Joshua Bell added to the ASCII set, just as a little bonus. It's not on the original Apple computer, of course, but he added those so that you could make games like Pac-Man or whatever. And I use them to make, I think they look like little pipes, and you can connect them in ways like this play screen has them all connected in a long pipe. And so I always had this idea that I could make like a Tetris game where if you connect the pieces in a pipe form, connect as many pieces as you possibly can, and they'll erase, and then the pieces fall down. I didn't make that game. Number one, it requires the use of recursive algorithms, and I can't program that efficiently enough for it to not bog the program down so slow that it's unplayable. So I kind of had to compromise, so it just, whatever piece you drop, if it connects to adjacent pieces, those pieces will be pulled away, and it doesn't reset, the pieces don't fall and compress. I can program that in there, and I'm thinking about maybe doing it later on, but I kind of like the strategy of trying to work around the pieces as they don't fall. So in this game, I'm going to just start it up here and show you the gameplay, and then I can talk about how I did it. It's actually pretty simple. To start the game, you just press a direction key, and the bottom of the screen is filled up already. I'm going to stop this just so I can show you guys what's going on here. So this bottom part here, random pieces, and some of these pieces you can't remove. It'd be impossible to get the pieces out of the way. So if you can clear all these, that's a grand accomplishment, and I thought about in the future making it be some kind of goal. If you can clear all those pieces, maybe it ends the game and you're the world champion or whatever, I don't know. But for now, you'll do good to even get down here pretty far by eliminating the pieces using this. But if you do eliminate these pieces, they're high scorers. If you stack them up and you eliminate the pieces up in here, it's a low score. So really the goal is to eliminate these pieces, or to join pieces together. Like say there's a space, you drop this one down here and then you drop another one on top of it. Well, just because you've eliminated those down here, it makes the score higher. And of course, eliminating 3 pieces, you get multiples of that score, and 2 pieces is the minimum. So you can erase, I think, up to 3 pieces at one time. Maybe in the future I'll add a cross piece or something like that, but it's not programmed. There's no cross piece, I think, in the ASCII set that Joshua Bell provided, so I don't have that piece available. So I just used what I had. And that was one of the fun parts of this challenge, was trying to make it without all the bells and whistles and easy parts that, say, Python offers as a programming language. You got to do it the hard way. You got to really think about it. So I did here, and the engine itself is pretty small. It's basically right there. That does all the magic. The pieces get checked down here, and then there's some pause and randomizers and what have you, but basically the guts of the operation is right here. So it's not terribly complicated. Pretty easy to do this part right here, but it won't check any of the pieces, but it will drop them and check if there's a space open and what have you. To connect the pieces, I had to know what piece it was and what parts of that piece would connect to adjacent parts. So if I did this to where it would connect long sections of pipe that are all connected, let me see if I can find an example here. So say if I work it down and I erase this piece here, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces would be involved, and I have, well, 5 right here, so it'd be 5 pieces. And you see, just trying to, as a human being, figure out what all pieces would be erased is challenging. Now do that as a computer program and it gets even more challenging. You have to use a recursive algorithm, the kind of algorithms that programmers use to make mazes and stuff. That's the kind of programming that I'd have to do, and it's a little complicated, but there are examples that you can find online in there that help you create these. But the problem is that it creates more programming, and then that takes away from the time. So right now it's almost too slow to play. Now it does speed up, but it only speeds up a little bit. It doesn't go super fast like Tetris does when you get to the higher levels, but it doesn't need to, because there's a lot of challenge to this game, and I'll show you some of the strategy real quick before I close out this video. Oh, gotta click in this window. Okay. So you could just let the pieces fall, and they're pretty good about just erasing themselves because it's a common event for these pieces to line up. So the allure is to kind of play and strategize, but what happens is you'll make a mistake at some point and that piece will stack up, and then it gets hard to erase and it gets in the way of everything else that you want to do, just like Tetris. And whenever you clear the screen, any pieces that are above this line here remain. So you always have to, those will always be in the way unless you figure out a way to get rid of them, and that can be kind of challenging, and it can be fun at the same time as like a side game as you're trying to erase these, to get up here and maybe erase a piece that's hanging out up here. That's kind of challenging. It's not going to give you a lot of points to get rid of those pieces up here, but you're encouraged to get rid of them because it gets them out of the way and you can get to the deeper points down here. So there's a little bit of element of strategy here to find a place that you can really get down and erase the pieces real low, and while you're erasing them, to get as many of them as you can. So here I've planned it out to get 3 pieces, so that was kind of a good move there. So that's pretty much it for this. That's what I've been doing. This game took me maybe 6 hours to program and debug and polish to the state that it's at now. It's not very fancy, but I might do a couple things to add to the challenge of this game. For instance, the level of difficulty is relational to the width of the game area. So if I make this game area smaller or narrower, it's going to be more challenging. So maybe as a player goes up in level, they get less area to play in. So I thought that would be an idea to work with. Now as you go up in level, it just increases your payout and it speeds up the game slightly. I think that's the only thing that it does right now. So I'm going to be playing this game for a while. I kind of like it. It's addictive. It's simple, deceptively simple. It's not so infuriatingly challenging that you just don't want to play it, but it's not so simple that it's stupid. I actually kind of like this game, and if I had made this in like 1982, I probably it would be on a cartridge or something. It's so simple to make, but it's an example of taking basic ingredients, basic materials, and elevating those, and not saying to yourself, oh, I don't have the best of things, I can't do this. It's like, I didn't have the best of programming skills, I didn't have the best programming language here, this old basic language, and it doesn't have the speed and the power, but I still did what I could with it to make something interesting. And yeah, I think in modern times that aspect is lost, that we rely a lot upon the tools that we have and less upon the ingenuity to make use of maybe lesser tools and materials. So that's kind of the point of this video, other than showing you what I've been doing with myself for the last couple weeks. It's just a very meditative and relaxing exercise for me to program, and I just wanted to share it with you to see if maybe it inspires you to, if you program a little bit, try this out. It's really fun. It'll bring you back. It'll take you back to those days when you were nerding it out in the library, playing on the school's Apple computer, which is kind of what I did. I know, it's a little close to home. Anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, you guys, take care.